Hi everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today. I'm Daniel, the CEO of Common Ninja, and today we're going to talk about one of the most powerful engagement engine in the modern marketing, brackets. You've seen them doing March Madness, you've voted in them, and you've probably argued about them as well. But today we are going to show you how brands use brackets not just for fun, but to drive massive engagement, millions of votes, email acquisition, and recurring traffic. And by the end of this session, you'll understand both the strategy behind it and how easy it is to launch one yourself. Today with me, Ehud, our VP of Growth Marketing, he will take it later. But before we jump in, just a quick intro. Common Ninja has been powering interactive content experiences since 2012. We are trusted by millions of users worldwide and big brands. We build no-code widgets, brackets, which is our bracket platform. We have Embeddable that we launched earlier this year, our AI builder, and soon we are going to launch new products as well. Today we are focusing on brackets specifically and how it became such a powerful growth engine for brands. What Bracket is, you're probably asking yourself. So Bracket is a platform for building, customizing, and scaling interactive brackets to drive engagement, leads, and traffic across marketing campaigns. And I want to emphasize the word scaling because we are going to talk about it later. This isn't just a fun poll widget. This is an infrastructure level engagement that some of the biggest brands in the world rely on to activate their audiences. So here's what we are going to cover up today. Why brackets are a marketeer's dream tool, bracket types and use cases, a deep dive into a real campaign from Billboard.com, a live demo, and then we'll have a Q&A session. So we'll start with the strategy and psychology behind why this format works so well, and then we'll move into real-world examples and numbers. Now, to dive into the marketing side, the why and the real impact behind these campaigns, I want to bring in Ehud, our VP of Growth Marketing. Ehud works directly with brands running large-scale bracket activation, and he's going to walk you through why brackets work so well, the different types and use cases, and how brands like Billboard turn this into hundreds of millions of interactions. Ehud, the stage is yours.
Hi, everyone.
Sorry.
Hi, everyone. Nice to meet you. My name is Ehud, and I'm leading the growth marketing team here at Common Ninja. So let's get into the core of this. Why are brackets such a dream tool for marketeers? Because it's flip the script. Okay, instead of pushing content at people, you invite them to participate. Brackets turn passive audiences into active players. As you can see here, every year during Q1, interest spikes. Millions of people are already in the bracket mode. About 10% of US adults fill out a March Madness bracket every year. That's amazing. That means the behavior already exists. And for us as marketeers, we're not creating demand, we're plugging into existing habit. And when interest peaks, that's our opportunity. Okay, so why do bracket work? First, because they plug into behavior that already exists. People already love voting, predicting, and debating, especially during high season like March. So when a brand launches a bracket this season, it doesn't feel random. It feels like joining something that's already happening. But the real magic is this. Brackets turn anything into competition. Let it sink for a moment. It could be products, features, movies, flavors, pizza topics, you name it. It doesn't matter. The moment you put two opinions head to head, people feel like they must choose. And that choice creates engagement. It doesn't feel like marketing, it feels like picking a side. That's why brackets don't interrupt attention. They convert into participation. Okay, so we are a marketeer. I mean, most of us, and we care about leads and conversions. So let's talk about leads. Brackets, not just engagement tools, they are structured lead machines. You can capture emails before voting, but more importantly, you can qualify people based on their choices. Their picks tells you what they care about. Moreover, you can retarget them, you can nurture them. The usual marketing funnel activation is fit for brackets. And because it's gamified, it doesn't feel like a disruptive pop-up or a gated PDF or ebook or whatever activation campaign that needs to be interrupt someone. It feels nature. And last, the engagement window is longer. People return multiple times to vote. So you can approach leads at your right time. I mean, you don't need to approach them at the first minute they just submitted the leads. You have the time and you can do whatever you want based on if a lead is warm, if it's cold. So it's up to you. Let's dive into the types and use cases because sometimes brackets it's a big subject and we want to make sure we all understand what are brackets. So now let's look at the flexibilities. Brackets are not one size fits all. The format adapt to your strategy. If you can compare it, you probably can bracket it. So as you can see here, we support multiple formats, from elimination brackets to prediction and votings. Today, in our webinar, we are going to focus on voting brackets, which are the best fit for marketing campaigns. Now, let's look at some examples of how brands utilize brackets to create engagement with their audiences. Okay, Newegg, they ran a best PC game tournament. So basically, it's an electronic retailer turned product discussion into a competition. They generated 8,000 votes. They moved from passive browsing to active engagement. That's the difference. Another example, Fandom. One of Fandom's community use our brackets for community-driven voting. 1700 votes, that's not bad. Brackets works especially well for brands with strong community culture like Fandom. So they give communities something to argue against. Another example, we all know Jamie Fallon. He used our brackets for the Tonight Show book club. He got over 100,000 votes, and this is just not just on their website. It extended to their social media, to the TV show, and to a YouTube channel. Last use case before we dive into the success story. So Billboard. Now let's talk about scale. Okay, Billboard Fan Army Face Off generated 130 million votes. It's like huge. This is massive audience participation. So you can see brackets can scale from thousands, as we see at the beginning, and to hundreds of millions. Let's talk about, Daniel, let's talk about the case study of Billboard. I think this is one of our most amazing case studies. So Billboard, they run a campaign annually. Fans compete to prove which artist has the strongest fan base. It runs for 6 weeks. The bracket format keeps the energy high and the entire time. Every round eliminates someone. Every round drives traffic. Every round brings people back. So look at their social content, fan posts, campaign spreads, artists get involved. Brackets give people a reason to share, not check out the article, but vote for my favorite. That's emotional engagement, and the emotional engagement drives reach. So eventually the numbers were huge, and we're gonna share it with you right now. So the campaign was running from July to August, 6 weeks campaign, 130 million votes, 11 million emails collected, 14 million website impressions, and 166 million user interaction. But most importantly, mainly for publishers, the average time on page was over 3 minutes. That's not a vanity metrics campaign. That's attention, that's retention, that's lead generation, that's brand amplification. And that's why brackets are a marketeer's dream tool, Daniel.
All right. Thanks, Ehud, for the marketing perspective, something I will probably never have. So you've seen the strategy, you've seen the scale, you've seen 130 million votes in action. Now I want to show you something even more important, how easy this actually is to create your own bracket campaign. Because sometimes when you hear numbers like that, you think, okay, this must require a huge development team. It doesn't. I'm going to build a bracket from scratch, live demo, can never fail, in just a few minutes. No code, no preparation, just exactly how your marketing team or even you are going to do it. And while I'm building it, I want you to think, where could this fit into my next campaign? All right. So let's do it. Hopefully everything will work. So I'm going to start by accessing the brackets editor. It's very easy to access it. You simply go to brackets by Common Ninja, bracketsninja.com, and clicking the create a bracket for free. This will redirect you to the editor where you can start making some adjustment to your tournament. So what we are going to create is a voting bracket for the best AI tool, because we must say something about AI during each conversation we have in the company. So we are going to create a March Madness style bracket without 64 teams. We are going to have only 16 for the sake of this demo. So you can see in the quick start pop-up, I can simply select the March Madness style bracket, which will give you 4 regions set up. And I'm going to enable voting. Clicking the create tournament, and let's start by filling up the different participants or teams which are going to be the subject for voting. So I'll start by removing the default ones. I can either add participants like manually, one at a time, or I can use the add bulk setting, add bulk import, where I can write down a list of names. I can import the name from another bracket I have. And lately we've added an option to upload a CSV file that have all the details. So you have the most easy setup existed. So let's start with writing everything manually here. So we have ChatGPT, and we have Claude, which you probably know, Gemini, Perplexity. This will be in the AI assistant region. Then in the creative AI, we have Midjourney, Canva, Runway, and Adobe Firefly, which I never used actually. In the next region, we have the productivity AI. So we have Notion, we have Microsoft Copilot, we have Zapier, and we have Airtable. And finally, we have the marketing region where I have HubSpot and Jasper, the scripts, and video. This is spoiler for next month. Once I'm done, I'm going to click Add Participants, and you will see that I already have a very nice bracket. It looks like a March Madness, only with 16 teams instead of 64. The next thing I want to do is to start customizing each one of the participants, so I can add a thumbnail to each one of them. While I'm waiting, you can generate an image with AI if you want, or you can simply select one of your gallery or upload a new one. Again, just for the sake of the demo, I'm going to select this nice cat, so it will appear here. I can add a description about this participant and some more details if you want to extend the information that will be presented in the bracket. So I can do this for each one of them. The next thing I want to do is to create the actual regions. So you can see that I have group one, group two, which is not very interesting. I'm going to change the names. So I have the assistants, regions, and I have what is it? Creative, region, and productivity region. And finally, I have the marketing region. Okay, so you can see that once I change it, it applies to the bracket itself. Um, Specifically for the matches, I can do all kind of other things. I can add the description for each one of the matches. Okay, I can give an overview. I can set up a location, time, date, like anything I need for the information about each one of the matches here. Next, what I'm going to do, I'm going to save everything, which is very important to save things every once in a while. Great. I'll probably want to change the name of the brackets. This is something I can do here. The name of the bracket will be Best AI Tools of 2026. Cool. I can add a banner image if I want. I don't have a very nice one. Let's go with this one. So I can add a banner if I want. I don't like it. And I can add a description, some more details about the tournament, why, what are the rules. It's also something I can add here. Rules. Okay, and then I'll have a rules tab. I can have privacy if I want to have a standing table to show each one of the participants, like how many points and votes they got. And I have the participant table as well, another tab I can add where people can see more information about each one of the participants. Next thing I want to do is to actually set up voting. This is like the most important phase. So as you can see, I have voting rounds. Each round represents a date that starts and ends. And in these dates, people, my site visitors and users will be able to vote for their favorite participant. So here's how to set it up. Each group will have its own rounds, and each round will have its own start date and end date. So for all the semi-final rounds, I want to set up the same date. So I'm going to have this week as an example. I will do the same for the creative group, for productivity group, and for marketing group. As you can see, in the right side, you have the schedule overview. You can see a calendar with all of the voting rounds live, and you also have a summary of each round and when it's going to run here at the side. Again, save and changes. Next round will be the final round. This one I want to have a week afterwards. So it will start in March 1 and end at March 7. Same for creative and same for productivity region, and for the marketing region. So far, so good. And then for the final group, which is the final four, I have the final four round and then the championship. These are the two last participants. So I'm going to give it like half a week. And to here, same goes for this one. And for the championship itself, I'm going to give an additional 4 days. That will end up in March 14. And this is it. Like this is how I set up the different voting rounds. And now that we have this one, we can continue to voting settings. So here you have some basic settings like the button text, like what will be written on this button. And the most important setting is probably this is where you can make the bracket become a lead generation tool. So instead of having people to vote and as an IP address, which is anonymous and not interesting, you can actually collect email addresses and names from people who want to vote, your site visitors. This is where the engagement kicks in. This is where Billboard generated 11 million leads from a bracket. So you can set it up here really quickly, and that's it. You can customize like how the form will look like. We'll see it in a bit. And if you want to collect more details, you can actually create a custom form as well. This will connect to an external Common Ninja form that you can set up in another editor, like the form builder widget that we offer. And then you can collect like custom information and not only email and the name. Other than that, some other important setting is the automatic winners. So if this setting isn't enabled, this means that once the voting round ends, people won't advance to the next round automatically. You will need to do it manually. Once you enable that, this means that voting round ended and people advance to the next round automatically. This is very important setting. And last two settings that we'll discuss today is votes per user. You can select from 1 to 10 how many votes each user, each site visitor can have in each round. And then you have the allow vote repeat. You can decide that you want to enable to allow people to vote one vote per day. And then if the first round is 7 days, this means that they can vote 7 times, one each day. Other than that, as you can see, there are other settings here as well. I can see that there is a question from the audience. We are about to finish, and then we'll have the Q&A session. So this is the voting settings. I'm clicking save again. The next thing I want to do is probably to design the bracket, like to make it more look like my brand. So I can try to select one of the pre-made skins. In the advanced tab, I can practically change everything that you see here from the background to the background of the tab, to the voting button. Like everything is customizable. You can change pretty much everything. And if you want to dig in even more, you have the custom no-code CSS editor where you have even more control on styling for each one of the elements on the bracket. And if you're a developer and you know CSS, you also have custom CSS option available. So that's basically it. Next thing I want to do once everything is ready, then I start the tournaments. This means that I won't be able to change the bracket type or add or remove multiple participants, but this means that people will be able to start voting. And what we're going to do now is I'm going to send you in chat a link to this bracket, and you're going to experience the bracket as a site visitor. So you'll see how the results look like. If you're from mobile, by the way, I can change where it is. Here. Oh, it's already on. Never mind. Anyway, it should look great on mobile as well. In order to share a link to a bracket, you can simply click the publish button. You can either embed it on your website. You can embed it on any website. It's agnostic to platform, so you can add it to WordPress, to your custom platform, to Shopify, whatever, like any platform you're using. And alternatively, you can use our hosted solution and simply share the link that we offer. And then it looks like this. Okay, so I'm going to send you right now the link in chat. So take like 2 minutes to cast your votes and we'll continue. I'll show you like how the leads look like in the platform. Right, so moving on. So now that the bracket is published and ready to go, people can start casting their votes, which is amazing. Um, Me as the bracket owner, I will start seeing the votes here. It being refreshed once every 3 minutes. So even if you don't see the changes live, you will see them in about 3 minutes after, like once every 3 minutes, it will be refreshed. And you will be able to see the entries here, as you can see them now. So I can see that 56 votes have been casted from you guys. And I can see the name of the person who submitted the vote and his email, which is very nice for lead generation, and you can export it into a CSV file and then work with your leads. Other than that, another tool that we got here is the analytics. It's a built-in analytics. You won't see the analytics right now. It populates after 24 hours, but you will be able to see how many engagement events you had in the bracket, how many submissions, how many people saw the bracket but didn't do anything. Very advanced analytics right here in the editor, which is a very nice tool to have as well. And finally, we have the integration, which is quite minimal for now, but you can connect your bracket to Google Analytics or Mixpanel for submitting our analytics to this platform as well to sync between them. And for security reasons, if you want to enable reCAPTCHA or spam detector, we have this integration as well. And soon we have other integration for Zapier and for submitting each one of the submission into webhooks and other things as well. Something I missed?
No.
All right. Before we dive into the Q&A session, so just final thoughts. So this is just how quickly we can create brackets. And just to go over the technical side, as I said, it's platform agnostic. You can embed our brackets anywhere. They are SEO friendly, which is very important, and doesn't impact on website performance. They're fully customizable, mobile optimized, GDPR compliant. As I said, we have integration with third parties, and soon we'll have webhooks as well. And you do have built-in CRM and analytics. So whether you are a publisher, brand, agency, or sport organization, it fits directly into your stack. So that's brackets. And you've seen the strategy, the real world results, and you see how easy it is to launch one yourself. Let's open it up for questions. All right, looking at Q&A, Deborah asks, is it possible for bots to be engaged in the voting brackets? So we are doing everything we can not to allow it, but so we have a web application firewall and it tries to detect suspicious activity. We have everything in place, but if person really want to trick our system, you'll probably be able to do it. Again, we are doing our best, but it's not possible to be like 100% hermetic around that. And it also depends on the settings you're having. Like if you add reCAPTCHA and OOPS-MIME integration, they can prevent false submissions. I hope this helps. Next, we have a question from anonymous attendee. We run our widget as a bracket submission mainly, hosting all of our voting to social polls. In this use case, is there any option to change that amount of prediction submissions the same way to change the amount of votes user could submit? I'm not sure I completely understood the question. There an option to change that amount of prediction submission the same way you change the amount of votes? Oh, okay. So yes, we discussed mostly the voting brackets. In addition to voting brackets, we have prediction brackets where people can try to predict and build their own bracket on who is going to win the tournament. For this type of bracket, we also have the option to allow people to submit multiple brackets. I hope this answers the questions. Next, we have, does the bracket window iframe? It seems to move off the window, so it needs to be moved right away from left view to entire bracket. So the answer is, it depends on you. We offer both integration. You can either use it in an iframe if you prefer, or you can embed our JavaScript code, which adds, if we are being technical, it adds the widget, the bracket, as a shadow DOM, which doesn't hurt the DOM itself. It can affect anything on the website, but it loads much, much faster than an iframe that has its own problems of performance. And another question, when I try to start with one vote per round and started a tournament, I get a pop-up that all voting had ended. What did I do wrong? This is probably related to the setup of your voting round. Maybe the date that you set up was a bit too early. If there is a specific setup, you can send us in support right after this webinar, and we'll look into it and help you figure this out. And Beverly says, thank you. You're welcome. All right. Any other question from the audience? All right. So just like some final word before we wrap up, I leave you with this. The smartest campaigns don't fight for attention. They tap into behavior that already exists. Predictions, competition, community, everything that we discussed. Brackets bring all these together in a way that feels natural and not forced. And when done right, they don't just drive engagement, they create momentum. So thank you for spending your time with us today. We really appreciate it. If you're thinking about launching a bracket campaign, whether it's for Q1, a product launch, a seasonal activation, or something completely creative, our team is here to help you to plan it, structure it, and execute it in the right way. So feel free to reach out to us after this webinar. We'd love to continue the conversation. Thanks again for everyone. Have a good one.